episode number 27 of The Final Whistle. I am Kyle. Mark is dealing with some personal things right now. He may jump on, as we get going here, but if not, you're stuck with me for another week here on the show. So we are ready, as you're stuck with me for another week, and I will walk you through this next hour or so to get you caught up on what's been happening since the last time we spoke. And then next week, don't forget, y'all, I want to get this out of the way while we're listening. Next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we are going to do a YouTube live show. It's going to be on YouTube, obviously, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will send out the link. We will remind everybody. But, yeah, don't forget, next Wednesday, February 11th, it will be a live show where you can come in the chat, interact with us. We'll talk, we'll discuss things, from the world, happening in the world of sports, discuss other things, sports-wise, and anything you may have missed or that happens between now and the live show next Wednesday. It's our second live show. We are excited. We test ran it last week, as you saw, and it went very well. So we're going to try it again next week, and we are going to be live and ready to go to chat with y'all, answer, look at your comments. And all we ask is we can have fun, we can joke around, just don't be silly with it. Don't be silly and just do your own thing. Just have conversation. None of these silly comments, because we will not answer them. It's hard for me to get out. I'm trying to think how to word this. Just don't worry about, I'm trying to word this without being, no silly comments. Let's just have a nice conversation about everything. If you have a silly comment or whatever, that's fine, but we probably won't answer it. So please be respectful to us trying to do this and everybody else that's coming in the chat, or you may be booted if it gets a little extreme. We just want to let you know, just fair warning. Just have conversation with us, have some fun, or you may be booted from the live if need be. Hope we don't get to that point, but just a warning as we continue along this journey. So we apologize for also not the road show, as Mark had some stuff come up. So you're stuck, as we're here, as you can tell, not at the venue, but we are still going to talk about it. It's a great week. As you can see, I have my little jacket on here. It's in Ohio. It's Barron Cup week. It's the high school hockey tournament in Northeast Ohio. It's the 55th edition. It's a high school tournament for teams that pretty much aren't going to win states. There's a couple teams that could make a run at it, but probably won't in the long run for this year. So it's a great tournament. I played in this tournament, and I played in this tournament the last 2 years that I was in high school, and it's just been nothing short of amazing. It's great. There's 3 divisions. There's a red division, which was the better talent that could compete for states and challenge some of the better state teams. The white, who maybe 1 or 2 teams could peak, but they're kind of better. They're just kind of in the middle, so to speak. And then the blue division, which is kind of like, I don't want to put this. It's like the teams that don't have a lot of players that are maybe just starting out, and so it's a great tournament, and it's at the Brooklyn Recreation Center. As you can see, I'll put the brackets are up on the screen as after this comes out. A couple of days have gone by, but you can tell by the brackets there which games have been played, and it's a great tournament. I'm excited for it. It only comes once a year, usually the week leading up to the Super Bowl, and it's very exciting stuff. And it's exciting. And when you watch this tournament, this is like, and this is what the teams look forward to. This is the teams that they practice all year round for. They don't care about the state tournament. This is their state tournament. This is their state championship. And when it's been going on for 55 years, there's a lot of nostalgia, a lot of prestige, a lot of, everything going on. So it is it is very exciting. And there's 2 teams that are defending their title this week, as it is Kenston, who won the white last year. We call it Barron Cup 2. Mentor, who won the red, or Barron Cup 1. We are going, as they will defend their title. I don't believe, let me look here, as I do not believe the defending champ Orange is in it, because they won it last year, and that was an amazing story. They only had, get this, they only had like 6 or 7 skaters compared to what the other teams had, 13, 14 skaters, and they were a Cinderella story. No one thought they would win. No one thought they were making this far. And I'm just looking really quick here. I just want to look just to make sure. I don't think they're in it. I could be wrong. No, they are not in it. They did not make it, as they did not make it this year. So the blue division, Division 3, will have a new champion this year, as I'm just looking at the thing. But yeah, so there's nothing go as there's a new champion for the blue, and it's exciting. Ryan Kelber, who used to be our old hockey coach, he's a great person. He's an amazing guy. He's the commissioner of this league, the president of this league. He runs this tournament, and it's the best tourney in Northeast Ohio, and he does a great job. Getting teams, seeded, getting teams in the right proper divisions as they come. And each year the teams rotate. Like one team could be in the white and fall down to blue, or white go to red, or blue go to white, or red go to white. Just depends, but the league's still up and running, and it's an amazing 55 years of this tournament, and it's very exciting. It's going to be a great jam-packed week at the Rec Center. 19 games there is this week between now and this is being recording on Monday and Saturday, with rounding out with Championship Saturday from the Brooklyn Recreation Center. So it's a great, and it's just fun. You feel the adrenaline, you feel the rush. The fans are behind you. It's amazing, especially when you get a rivalry game. I know when we played, we had a couple rivals that we played. One of our rivals got bounced before we even played them. We got bounced in the first round, so we could not play him for the title. So that was kind of good. But unfortunately, I'll always forget. I'll tell the story as I believe we were the 1 seed or we were the 2 seed. I think we were the 1 seed, and it was senior year. And I know when a couple other people hear this, they're gonna bring back nostalgia. But so we won and so we were in overtime of the semifinals. We were literally 5 seconds away, and if we would have held on, we were going to a championship. Unfortunately, we're playing Aurora here in Ohio. They scored, they won. They scored to send it to overtime. So we're in overtime, and literally 5 seconds left in overtime. They scored, and they won the game, which would have sent it to double overtime. And I don't think I've ever cried that much in my lifetime. It was just heartbreaking. It sucked, and I don't know. It was very, very sad. I cried for like almost a week straight. Like I just remember sitting in my locker in the locker room and hands in my jersey and just bawling my eyes out. My eyes burning because I had contacts in. So. But that's what the heart, you put your heart and soul in this from like late September, early October till now, and this is pretty much the Super Bowl, if you will. We're talking about Super Bowl week for a lot of these teams, and after this, some players aren't going to be playing college hockey or other parts of hockey. So this is like not make or break, but this is it. This is to get their names into history, get their names on their trophies, get the plaques, and it's get the medals, and it just. It's the best tournament around. There's other tournaments going around, but there's nothing like this. There's nothing competing. It's just, it's the Stanley Cup playoffs, if you will. So it's very interesting, and I'm excited. And you can watch on Sports on Tap this week on Facebook. Find it. It'll be linked with the GCHL Facebook and all that. So there'll be games. If you can't make it out, it'll be on Facebook, YouTube for you to watch. But come on out. If you could come out, watch the games. It is very, very exciting hockey, and you won't want to miss it because it's going to be a tournament for the ages, especially in the blue. The blue's always a good because you just never know who's going to win the blue. And there's a couple dark horse teams that I'm looking at already that I think could win it, that could go on a run because they've been there before. One team is Normandy. Normandy has been in there, every year, and they're sneaky. They don't always have, the depth, but they always have players and they always have teams that make a run at this thing. And they played a first round today at the time of this recording, and I think they might win. I haven't seen some of these teams all year, so it's be very interesting to see. I'm not counting them out. CVCA, I'm not counting them out. They went on a run a couple years ago, and they went out and won it. So this is going to be a very interesting type of game, type of tournament in the blue. That's all. And I played in the blue, so that's probably why it's a little, more eye-popping to me. The white is going to be very interesting. The white, all 8 teams in that division made it, along with the red, where all their teams made it. So, but the white's very interesting. White, the defending champs, the 6th seed, they have to play the 3 seed tomorrow, or tomorrow Wednesday, and then you got the 1 seed Avon Lake, who wasn't really a threat last year, but they kind of turned it around in a year span, so that's good for them. They're facing their rivals Avon. That's always a rivalry game. You got Olmsted Falls, the 3 seed, and you got a bunch of teams that are just vying, and you just never know. There's always upsets. There's always that one team that could go on a run. As you're missing, Western Reserve. Western Reserve was in there for. I'm just talking about if your Ohio people know, they were in there a couple years ago. They unfortunately disbanded. They were not in there. And I'm looking right now. Did I miss Strongsville by chance? I'm trying to see if I missed Strongsville. How many times I've looked at the bracket and I don't remember who's in there because there's so many teams to look at. I don't see. Oh yeah, Strongsville's in there. Strongsville's the fifth seed. They won it a couple years ago. They're facing Kent Roosevelt, so it's always a good tournament. And the Reds always, the Reds are the teams that could play with the state teams like the Ignatiuses or St. Ed's, but ultimately probably more than likely fall short. But Mentor had a run a couple years ago in the state tournament where they knocked off some big teams like Gilmore, US to get to the state semifinals and then ultimately fell. But they've been playing. They're always playing well. And Men and Rock River is a huge rivalry, and they get to play semifinal Friday, and that at 7 o'clock. That's an awesome game because the Reds always decided usually between those two. Well, but the past couple of years has been decided with Benedictine and Mentor won it last year, and Rocky Rivers won. So that Reds always a good though. That's some great hockey. And if you want to come starting Thursday night and Friday and Saturday, 3 straight days of red division hockey. It's going to be amazing because there's always a dogfight. And Benedictine, when they went on that streak and won it 2 years in a row, no one thought they were going to win it. Amherst has an amazing coach. He always keeps them, and he's always got that one system down with these kids. I don't know how they do it year in and year out. It just frustrates teams to hell when they play them. So Amherst is always hanging around. Hudson, depends on the year. Sometimes, they have it. Sometimes, they kind of struggle to get there. But it's be a very, very, very interesting tournament in all 3 divisions. I'm not going to pick a winner, but it's going to be exciting. If you can't make it, follow Sports on Tap on Facebook and YouTube, and we will definitely they will definitely bring you coverage all week long as we get going with this tournament starting today at the time of this recording at the John M. Cormack Recreation. Tickets online. Go to jchsl.com for that information. All right, so we are going to move on here. There's been a lot of news to get you caught up on as the Browns hired their coach. They have hired Todd Monken to be their next head coach, a 60-year-old coming in, former OC of the Baltimore Ravens, former OC of Georgia. And so here we go, folks. We have our new coach. It's been hit with a lot of both sides of the spectrum. People love it. People hate it. It just depends what side you fall on. At the time, I hated it. I'm taking a wait and see approach, if you will. I don't know. It's got to grow. He's got to grow on me. The head coaching experience has come into is kind of no head coaching experience is kind of a question mark for me. There's it's just, I don't know. We saw what that no head coaching experience does. We saw Kevin Stefanski. It worked out for a couple of years, but he could not sustain that success. 2020, 2023, those 2 great years, and then the rest, he fell short. So that's another thing you got to look at. And then you got, I don't know. Here's what I want. I know he wants to call his plays. He wants to call, everything. I don't want him to do that. The reason I don't want him to do that, we saw what happens to Fancy. He called his plays. He got sometimes in his head too much. He would not give up play calling. Just give up play calling, bro. Just manage a game. That's all we need to do. We need a coach to manage the game. You're hiring an offensive coordinator. Just let him call the plays. Certainly have your game plan in there. Have your game plan in there. Have your thoughts, but just let the guy call plays because you're not having head coaching experience. Now you're putting too much on your plate. You're putting too much on your plate with trying to worry about calling plays, and now you got to game manage too. If you don't game manage, that's why he's successful where he's at. All he did was call plays. Didn't have to worry about calling timeouts, what the defense was doing, what the offense is doing. Now this is where I think it comes back to bite him. Now everyone's gonna say, "Oh, I want an experienced play caller, calling play." Blah, blah, blah. I understand that, and I get that, but you got to understand from the other side, is it going to be too much for him? Is it going to be too much for him to try to do both jobs? And that's why you got to bring in an OC that you could trust to call plays if you need to, and just don't be stubborn. If you're gonna be stubborn, it's not gonna work here, and you got to let your coordinators work. Now, go let coordinators work. You got to let coordinators work. You're paying them to come in. You're paying them to be on the team. Let them just manage the game. Call timeouts. Make the adjustments. That's all you have to do. Now, on the defensive side, this is where it's going to get interesting. Is Jim Schwartz staying? Because there's reports saying Schwartz was upset because he got passed over. Reportedly cleaned out his locker or his office. Reportedly, he said he was leaving. He's telling players and personnel he's gone. We have not heard. He's under contract for the upcoming year. That's where it gets a little sticky. You want him to stay if you're a Browns fan and a Cleveland Browns. You don't want to lose him because then you kind of create animosity with the team, knowing that you have a defense that kind of kept you in a lot of games last year. Could have won that if the offense was that held up their end of the bargain. They probably win you some games right there. But and if you lose Jim Schwartz, where do you go from there? Who do you hire? Do you hire from within? Is it too late to hire, somebody from the outside? And that's where you're looking at. And I will say this, if you're going with a guy like Monken, you should just went Jim Schwartz because now you're in a situation, and he's like, oh, he's not going to get fired after year one. Okay, you don't get fired after year one. That's fine. That's fine. Don't fire him after year one. But what's going to be the excuse if we go 17 games, 5-12? What are we doing if we're going 5-12 again? 6-11. Okay, 1 game difference, 1 game improvement. Whoop-de-freaking do. Whoop-de-freaking do. You're 1 game, and then what do? What happens if year 2 you go 6-11, 5-12? Then what do? You got to do you. I say give him a year. If there's no improvement, I think AB's. I don't even know. Do you go 1 year, and then fire? If I say you got to go 1 year, no improvement, he's got to go. I get it. He could. I get it. He worked with the quarterback. Baltimore had Lamar and Henry. Yeah, they don't have Lamar and Henry here in Cleveland. They have Shador and Judkins. He's come back from surgery. Who knows how explosive he's going to be? Now, this is where I personally, you go anything under 500, I get rid of him. I get rid of Barry. I don't care what draft you have, what kind of draft you have, because now it gets to a point where you gotta clean house. Haslam has to clean house because it just becomes more and a lot more pressure on AB next year and a lot more pressure on Jimmy, because if you don't clean house after this year and you ride back and go another 5-12, 6-11 in 2 years from now, then this is complete atrocious. This is a bad hire. I'm waiting to see, leaning towards a bad hire. I think this is a bad hire, but I'm going to wait and see. And if I'm wrong, I will own up to it. But we'll see, because Stefanski luckily got caught during COVID year. He had that great year and was like, oh, yeah, he's the best. And they gave him, and then he had 2 losing seasons, 2023. Had a winning season, kept him losing, then 2 more losing seasons. So there's got to be some sort of a pattern here. There's got to be some sort of, each and every year you got to be fighting for playoff spots. If you're not fighting for a playoff spot and you go 6-11, 5-12 again, I'm going to hold true to it. You fire him after year 1 because there's no improvement. You're hiring a coach to have improvement, and you have no improvement. That's what we're doing. You want improvement from a coach. You want stability, a no BS type of coach. If this is the guy, that's fine. But you cannot keep him around if there's no improvement in the record. I'm telling you right now, you cannot go back on this in a year from now, but 5-12, it's only 1 year. It's only 1 year, but you're wasting time. You're wasting Myles Garrett. You're wasting, if it's Shador starting, we don't know. We'll see what kind of quarterback. If he goes Shador or Watson, you're wasting Shador. You're Watson. Who knows what the hell's going to go on with Watson? But there's a lot to think about here. I don't know. I think it's a bad hire. If you were doing this, should have just promoted Schwartz, because if AB's gone, we're going to have to see what the new GM would do if he would fire Monken or keep Monken for at least a year, just to kind of, so the GM could get his feet wet and see what he could do with his type of guys. Okay, maybe I'll give him 2 years. We'll give him 2 years. Okay, he's got his feet wet as a head coach. If he doesn't improve in 2 years, then he's got to go. I don't care if it's a 5-year deal. You got to fire him. Just buy him, pay him, whatever the hell you got to pay him, because at some point you're going to have to be serious about this. I don't think this is I think this is a terrible hire. This is A-Breed's make or break, because if there's no improvement, by the end of next year, we're out of we don't even make the play. If we go 500 out and we don't make the playoffs, that's a win in itself. I will take that wholeheartedly. I will take an 8 and 9 type of season. That shows improvement. That shows okay, we can work with this. I'll be okay with that. But if anything under 500, if we're 7-10, okay, but still not still. I'd be like, okay, progress, but still not enough. 6-11, 5-12, yeah, no, that's no progress being made. If we're 500, 8-9, 7-10 around there, I'll be okay-ish with the 7-10. 8-9, I'll be totally okay with, because that shows a lot of improvement and there's a lot of room to work with. But then if we come out flat next year or the following year and go 5-12, 6-11, he's got to go. I don't care. He missed the playoffs 2 times in a row. And now who knows? The way the division is. I mean, you saw Carolina get him an 8-9 record. I mean, we could with that division, all new coaches. You got all new first-time head. Actually, no, 2 first-time head coaches. One, Mike McCarthy, who's coached pretty much everywhere in his 10 years. I think it's the Steelers division to lose. Obviously, we'll get into a lot of more preview as we get closer next season. But it's a good hire by the Steelers. I was hoping for the Steelers for the Browns to at least interview McCarthy, but they did not for whatever reason. So, but yeah, it's a weird division this year, and Jesse Mentor in Baltimore with the first year head coach, especially with a lot of expectation. Well, how does he manage Lamar? How does he manage, Henry? How does he manage that offense with his new coordinators and defense? He's a defensive coach. He comes from the Jim Harbaugh coaching tree, so he knows he have a little more, or a little more focus and attention on defense. So that's gonna be interesting to watch. You also got Zach Taylor, who nobody's talking about, the Cincinnati Bengals. Zach Taylor's still sitting there with the Bengals. Hasn't been fired. They pretty much got the okay. He's got the okay to go one more year. He's got to run it back with Burrow, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, all those guys. So I think it's the Steelers and Bengals division to lose. And you got Mike McCarthy. He's won a Super Bowl with Green Bay. He's gone to the playoffs with Dallas. Just didn't work out in Dallas. And he's a Pittsburgh kid or Pittsburgh native. So this is going to be very interesting going into Pittsburgh this year. So, and what does Rodgers do? Does Rodgers come back? That's going to be very interesting. Does he come back to at least try to run it back with his former coach one more year? Or does he say, he call it quits altogether? And Monken, he's got to earn his keep. It's not going to be easy for him. It's not going to be easy for him. It's not going to be, obviously all sunshine and rainbows and flowers and pots of gold, but that's just what's going to happen. And I'm still wait and see. I'm wait and see mode. This is going to be something that I love the Browns. Trust me, I love the Browns. I will root for them to the day I die. So I'm 6 feet under and taking a dirt nap. But I don't know. They make some questionable moves. If AB's got a hit on it. He hit. I will give him credit. AB did hit on his past draft with Schlesinger, with Judkins, with Fannin. So he had a great draft compared to what he's had. Now, if he messes up this draft, then he's got to go. Now, unless I think he should be gone regardless. It should have been a whole new regime change. But I think I could see what Jimmy was doing, what Haslam was doing. He was giving AB the chance to hire a coach. So now, which is good because if Monken don't work out, AB's out, Monken's out, and we start all over, which unfortunately will suck. But maybe needs to happen to get AB out, which I could totally understand as well. If that's what Haslam's thinking in the back of his mind, because this search took forever. And it seemed like they were fighting on who they wanted. Nate Shieldhouse was a guy who was a finalist. Schwartz was a finalist. Monken was a finalist. They were all finalists until they settled on Monken last Wednesday. And they told the other guys, yeah, we don't need him. We're not going to go with you. So they must see something. They must see, obviously, they put out those press releases. Oh, we see leadership. We see this. We see that. And then, it's confusing. It's very, very confusing, to say the least, of how this search went. Who knows who's telling the truth? If this was the guy, now we saw last night that there was somebody that this was the Browns' main guy. They wanted this guy, which I find it hard to believe. As it's bad. Let's put it in perspective, folks. Let's put this in perspective for a minute. It's bad when candidates are telling are backing out of everything. Mike McDaniel backed out. I forgot there's somebody else who backed out too. I forgot who backed out. Mike McDaniel backed out. That was one of the guys that I would probably would have been okay with if they brought said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna hire him." I'd be like, "That's fine," you know. I forgot who the other guy was that said no, but there's a couple guys that said no in this search. So why are guys saying no? We don't want to anymore. Oh, the Grant Udinsky guy from Jacksonville. They're telling you no, so you settle for this guy. You see, you have to. You're pretty much settling because they told you no. They told you no, so you're settling now. That's pretty much what happened. And you're like, oh, Monken was a favorite all along. No, he wasn't. He was not the favorite all along. If he was the favorite, he would have been hired last week or like the week, or like not last week, but he would have been hired way before last week. He was not the favorite. He was not the favorite. There was Shieldhouse. It was Udinsky. It was, I'm sure McDaniel was in it. That was probably a favorite at some point till he backed out to go to the Chargers. And McDaniel even he was supposed to take an interview with Buffalo, I think, or was it Buffalo or the Raiders? But then he backed out of that. So what does that tell you? He was still thinking about a head coach, even though he didn't go through with it. He was still thinking about being a head coach. So that tells you all you need to know about this organization is that when people say no to you and they back out, that's all I got to think about that. When people say no to you, think about that for a second. You're having people pull out of the candidacy because of the way how dysfunctional you guys are right now. Does it get better? I don't know. Is Monken going to push back on some of these head coach or some of these front office moves? I don't know. I mean, I don't know where we go. I don't know. Is Monken going to be like Stefanski, a yes man? You know, a top of the, like, oh, I'm going to do okay because they said this, I'm going to do it. We don't freaking know. Time will tell. Time will tell. But when you got people pulling out of the job, either staying where they're at, well, we may not know why they pulled out. We may not know that for a while. Or we may not ever know that. But you have people pulling out to stay in their offensive coordinator job or go to another offensive coordinator job. They don't want to be a head coach for the Cleveland Browns. What does that tell you? And all these people defending the move to hire, I don't even think Shieldhouse would survive 2 years. Everyone's thinking, oh, he's Big Bay, he's the next Sean McVay. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. But this is the same thing. You would have literally hired a guy with no head coaching experience, just younger. Now I get sometimes you take that risk, but with this organization right now, you cannot take that risk. You can't. This team's so dysfunctional. You need someone to get back on track, and I get this. I guess this is going to be the guy at least get this team back on track. At least disciplined and tough. Do we make the playoff? I don't know. We'll find out game one what this team looks like in preseason. I mean, preseason you can't really tell much, but we'll know what this team looks like game one. We'll know what their coaching is game one, game two. Just think about that. You have people pulling out of your job because of how dysfunctional you are. And you hire this guy with no head coaching experience, and you're hoping this is a no BS coach. And did you settle? If they settled, you're going to find out in about a year. And I just read something before I came on the air, before I started recording. John Harbaugh, the new coach of the New York Giants, he tried to talk Monken out of taking this job because he wanted Monken the OC with the Giants. John Harbaugh has been around for a while. He sees it. When you got other coaches, well, obviously tampering is not illegal in the NFL, but like coaches saying, "Hey, don't take that job." What does that tell you? What does that tell you? So Todd Monken, the new Browns head coach, feels all the coaches have been hired pretty much. There's a couple official announcements still to come, but they're going to wait till after the Super Bowl to announce at least one more of them with the Raiders. So we'll see. There's a lot to be desired. Jim Schwartz, what's going to happen? We may know. Maybe we'll know by the time we go live with you guys next Wednesday night what happens. We'll see. It's going to be very interesting if Jim Schwartz kind of just plays out the year. and then goes from there. I mean, and to be honest with you, I thought we should have freed Schwartz a while ago. And if he leaves, I can't blame him. I can't blame him. This has been a dysfunctional organization, and you pass him over. If you're literally, you should have just brought in. You should just let Schwartz do it if you're gonna bring in Monken. I know I keep saying it, but it's true. Should just let him coach. What do you got to lose? Okay, don't work out next year. Okay, Schwartz, you're gone. Unfortunately, AB, you're gone. AB should have been gone. So this is tough. This is gonna be a weird. This is gonna be an interesting offseason. They gotta hit a home run. If they hit a home run in this draft, they better hope this coach helps because they hit a home run last year, and the coach then Stefanski didn't do anything with it. He only had 2 winning seasons. Congrats. If you want to defend that, defend that. Defend his coaching, but he's in Atlanta. We'll see what happens. He's pretty much taking all the Browns with him. He took Tommy Reese, the Browns' former offensive coordinator. He took Alex Van Pelt, who was offensive coordinator a couple years ago as well. We'll see. This will be very interesting. Time's going to tell. Time's definitely going to tell. So we'll see. But we'll see. We'll keep updates, especially if Schwartz does leave. We'll kind of dissect that maybe next week. We'll see how that goes. Hey, quick birthday shout out. As I mentioned, a good friend, family friend of ours, and the president of the league of the Barron Cup, Ryan Kelber, Coach Kelber as I call him. Coach, it's his birthday coming up Monday the 9th, and obviously we won't be on the air or be recording until Wednesday. So he's helped me through a lot, especially through high school. He was our AD, and he was our hockey coach when we made that Barron Cup run. So, and I've known him and his family growing up since I was younger. But so he's an amazing person, and he's an amazing father, and he's made an impact on my life. So, Coach Kelber, can't wait to spend a week watching these games. But most importantly, happy birthday, my guy. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the birthday weekend, and cannot wait to at least maybe celebrate a little bit with you this coming week at the rink at Barron Cup. Happy birthday, my guy. Best wishes for another year in the books. All right, we're going to move on here as it is Super Bowl week. As we found out the Super Bowl last week, it's going to be the New England Patriots taking on the Seattle Seahawks next week. Super Bowl 60 from Santa Clara, California. Actually, this coming Sunday. And this is a very interesting matchup as the New England dynasty are they back? Is Seattle start of a new era, a new dynasty in Seattle? We wait to see. This is a very interesting matchup. Both got really good defenses. Both quarterbacks playing in the Super Bowl for the first time, and it's very interesting. I like this defense. I think it's gonna be more. People think it's gonna be. I don't know. I think it's gonna be more of a defensive game. New England only let 7 points up on Denver in Mile High in the championship game. I mean, Seattle's defense they kind of got into a track meet with LA, ultimately pulling away at the end. But I don't know. I think both defenses are going to show up to play in this game. You got 2 first-time Super Bowl quarterbacks in this one, first-time Super Bowl or head coaches in a Super Bowl in this one. So there's a lot of first. And when you see this is a rematch of 2014 or 13, I believe. I forgot what year it was, but they did face off, so it definitely is a rematch. But definitely different players in that game are Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll. If you all remember that goal line throw that they should have probably ran it in instead they threw it and got picked off by the Patriots. So ultimately won the Patriots the Super Bowl. But it's gonna be a very interesting game. I think the defense are gonna step. New England's got this heck of a. They only allowed 2 touchdowns in the entire postseason. That is hard to believe. If you remember, they started off with the Chargers. They started off with the Chargers as they only got a field goal, a couple field goals. That was a kind of a defensive struggle as they won 16-6. And then they played Texans as they won as they only scored once. And then as they were all over Stroud in that game, as Stroud had 4 interceptions and they only scored 1 touchdown after in the second quarter, I believe, with Woody Marks. And then they only let 1 touchdown against Denver, as they blocked that kick that won them the game and to win the AFC Championship game. Pretty much, that would have been the difference maker, probably going to overtime. But They won it, and it was good for them. And you also got, I mean, on the other side, you got Seattle. Seattle with that dynamic offense. They got Jackson Smith and the jig, but they got Cooper Kupp. The Kenneth Walker's been showing up in the absence of Zach Charbonnet. So it's going to be very interesting. As where was this? Where was this Kenneth Walker all year? I know we keep talking about this, but I get was he maybe just foreshadowed because of Zach Charbonnet? Was he foreshadowed because they want to ride with Charbonnet more? So it's going to be very interesting because Kenneth Walker is a free agent at the end of this year. He's a free agent, so it's going to be interesting. Where do they go? Do they keep Walker around, knowing how he did, how he's performing in the postseason? Because they really have no guys behind him that are difference makers if Charbonnet would go out. So now I think it's kind of, it's a good Walker's kind of having to make Seattle make a tough decision here. Do you resign him? Do you let him walk? Because a team's going to get a team like the Browns, they're going to need somebody. I mean, I'm not saying the Browns are going to get him, but you got the Browns. Someone's going to need a running back, and you let Kenneth Walker start. And if he performs the way he did the past two games, pretty much, you're going to have a lot to be desired. And if Charbonnet would get hurt for Seattle, who do you have? You're probably going to have to draft a running back, during the draft or sign somebody, because I don't see anybody behind Charbonnet because it's really a game changer, especially when some of these guys were playing in for Charbonnet when they were backing up Walker. So that's going to be that's going to be a very interesting decision. What team, if Seattle doesn't sign him, where does he go? Where does he go to play next year? I think it's going to be yet to be desired, but definitely interesting to see. But the defenses are going to be, it's going to be interesting who gets the edge. I don't know. I don't want to pick yet. I'm still discussing, but I think the defensive battle could go to New England. I like New England's defense. Their offense is good. Their offense is flying. When their offense is on, they're on. They got the two-headed running back. They got the Booty. They got Stephon Diggs, Hunter Henry. I mean, is their offense explosive at times? Sure. I mean, are they sometimes not explosive? Absolutely. But I think Seattle's offense is more explosive. But I think this defense is going to be, how this defense matches up with Darnold and Njigba and Kenneth Walker is going to be an interesting sight to see. So I would not put anything past this game to be a low-scoring game. But, remember there have been a couple, like last year's, they had some good defenses, and the game was 40-0. Eagles defeated the KC like 40-3 or 40-7 or something like 40-6 or something like that. And then a couple years ago, wasn't it? I think it was Carolina. No, it was like Seattle defeat Denver. Like they blew them out 43-8 or something, or vice versa. But so it is It's gonna be very interesting when you look at this, because you just don't know how this. You just don't know, and it's just, you never know in the Super Bowl. You just never know. It's postseason football's the last game. There's a lot of tricks. I'm sure they got play calling for this game as well, and you got a lot to be desired. This is tough. This is very tough. Difference maker. All right, I'm gonna say it's gonna be the difference maker. It's going to be the defensive line defense for England versus Seattle's offense. If New England can stop this run, if they could stop the explosiveness that we know Seattle does have, I think New England's be in good shape. Now, if they struggle and Njigba has a great game and they start to get Walker going and they start to get maybe Cooper Kupp going a little bit, then I think Seattle's kind of going to roll with this one. This is one where you don't have a lot to be desired, and I do like the Patriots in this one. I'm going to go Patriots in this one. I just feel the way it's going, it's their thing to lose. I know they're not the favorite. I know Seattle's the favorite. I think their defense shows up in a big way. I do think they limit the explosiveness of Seattle. I do think they come out swinging. I do like where they're at. I'm going, give me New England. I'm going New England in this one. I like it. I like where they're going. I don't see how they don't make it. I don't see how they don't make it a game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. It'd be a lot. It's a lot of factors. I'm It's hard. I want to say Seattle too, but no, I'm sticking with New England. I've been sticking with New England throughout the whole postseason, so I'm going to England. It's gonna be close. It's going to be very, very close. So give me New England in this one, and I think it's going to be it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a great game. It's gonna probably come out on a wire. I hope it does, because last year we were done by like halftime. We were done, and we were literally excited for more of that. Well, I don't know how excited we were for the halftime show, but we were just like, all right, a halftime show, and then they came back out, and the game was done. Like, no, I'll be honest, I probably wasn't even, if I remember, I wasn't even paying attention the whole game. It was just crazy to think about how it just went. And it's gonna be a great game. I think I like New England in this one. But I can't put anything past Seattle though. I think Darnold will get it going a little bit. And who knows? It could be a high scoring game. I'll be in for a high scoring game. Or people gotta realize if it's a low defensive game, I know people love scoring, but enjoy it. Enjoy the mix up. Sometimes it's good to have a low scoring game. It's good to have maybe like a 14-13, 21-13 type game. As I think we're trying to load up Mark. As there he is, as he's here. He's in high color and halfway, three quarters of the way through it. What's up, my guy?
What's going on? We're surviving the frozen tundra over here. For those of you who don't know, I'm enjoying a broken furnace at the time of this recording. That's why I am late, and that's why I am cold as all hell. You know who won't be cold though,
Oh.
Kyle? It seems like you're talking about the Super Bowl. I bet you those boys won't be cold out where they're at.
No, they're definitely not. Since we're on the topic, because I know we're kind of limited on time today due to personal things, but I will give you the floor. I gave my take on the Super Bowl. Give your take on the Super Bowl. Who do you like to win, and some X factors to look out for going into this one Sunday night?
It's a very interesting game to say the least. I'm still kind of back and forth on it, quite honestly. And I think part of it is because the Patriots have that like kind of lore about them, even though there's no Tom Brady, there's no Bill Belichick. It's kind of hard to go against their, I'll say, championship acumen. But at the same time, you got Sam Darnold on the other hand, who's playing crazy. I think the X factor in this game is how do the Patriots stop really the Seahawks passing attack, right?
But the same thing.
Um,
The same thing. Yep, I agree.
when you have JSN, he's I mean he's virtually unguardable, but everybody knows how to deal with the number one, right? But then you kind of throw in the speedster and Shaheed, who you've already seen break open a couple of these playoff games, basically from their start.
Yep.
He's made some really big plays in the past two playoff games that they've played, and I think that becomes the X factor is can you cover both of those guys or really all three of their weapons? Because Kenneth Walker, he'll probably have some tough sledding. He's been playing really well of late, but the Patriots defense is really good in the run game. It'll be interesting for me to see. This is kind of their first test in a real environment where somebody can kind of sling the ball all around the yard, and can they at least in this playoff experience for them. And I'll be interested to see how they or if they can combat against that because I mean the Seahawks have a lot of firepower. We all know how good their defense is, so it'll be very interesting to see if they can stop the offensive firepower from Seattle as well as if they can get their own going because their offense over in New England has been pretty putrid to say the least, and their defense is really carrying them through the playoffs.
Yeah, and as I go to your point, I was just telling the viewers before you came in. Yeah, it's good. If New England stops Seattle, I think they win. I think New England wins this game if they stop. But if I don't, Seattle gets going, man. It might be tough. It's either gonna be a shootout or it's gonna be like a 20-13 type of game. I think. 'Cause I think
And
if
those are
both
the
teams,
games the Patriots have been winning. Those
yeah,
low scoring, close one possession games. They've won them all playoffs so far.
yeah, so I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna go either way. I think Patriots. They stop them. It's gonna be. I think a low scoring. If they don't, I think Patriots might have to play from behind. I pick the Patriots. I'm gonna roll with them. I just think Vrabel. I think they're due. I seriously think they're due, Mark.
Yeah.
And I was also talking to viewers. Kenneth Walker. This is a showcase for Kenneth Walker because he's been. Because what's gonna happen? Is he gonna? Are they gonna resign him because Charbonnet's hurt? There's really not an explosive guy in the third or fourth string. So is Seattle going to walk? Is Seattle going to let him walk? Because if he goes to another team and he plays like this, Seattle's going to regret that, wholeheartedly, knowing that we let a guy walk, and Charbonnet, who knows if he's good. He's a good number one, but they have nobody behind him unless they draft a guy, which they're going to have to because their third and fourth guys aren't the best and they suck.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm going with the Patriots as well, all things considered. I think it's going to be an extremely close game. I could see this coming down to one possession, but while the Patriots offense hasn't been very good, it's been consistent and consistent
Yeah.
enough to allow their defense to win the game for them, and I think that's where Vrabel comes in. I also know that and I know we brought it up a bunch of times, you guys are probably annoyed with even hearing us say it, but I only see this as more salt in the Browns fans' womb, and that's why Vrabel will win the Super Bowl in his first year as a head coach, simply because he was on the Browns staff just a year ago. We
Yeah.
fired our guy a year later, and I'm sure we've already talked about our Cleveland coaching hire carousel, whatever the case may be. You could have been, you would have never had some 72-year-old bum that didn't actually want to be here anymore if you just hired Vrabel, and maybe who knows, maybe we'd be one win away from a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I'll turn the floor right back over to you. As I gave my thoughts. I gave a whole half hour TED talk on it. So, but I would just to catch up. I from some of my points, I think AB should be gone if we don't make the playoffs next year. I think
I'd
Monken
agree.
should be gone if we don't
I'd
make the
agree.
playoffs next year. Schwartz, you should have just hired Schwartz if you were going with
Yep.
this guy. I think I like to know. Only thing I like to know bullshit. It's gonna be no bullshit, which is good. But at the same time, no head coaching experience scares me. I'm just trying to and just manage the game. Manage the game. Let your OCs do the work. We saw that with Stefanski when he tried to have too much on his plate. Now you're an inexperienced head coach. You're worrying about too much, Mark. That's kind of much. That's pretty much what I brought up. So the floor is yours to give your thoughts since you had a week to kind of think about and digest the news of Browns hiring Todd Monken for 5 years at least.
Yeah, I mean, the 5-year contract, Kyle, I know you and I have talked extremely extensively on the subject kind of throughout the week since it happened. Um, I think my reaction at first is still the reaction I have now. Why? Just why? Like, if you're going to hire an old guy, why not keep the guy in your building that you're basically running new guys out of the building because of?
Yeah.
I mean, all the reports were that all these new guys were out of the running literally because they didn't want to be 100% stuck with Schwartz if they didn't have to. We were forcing this guy on every single coach that we were looking at, and then they all disappeared because of that one thing. So why not just hire him? I understand Monken was here before, but at the same time, how does it not give you caution that the exact year that he left, a buddy of ours, and I'm sure you might have brought this up, sent the stat that we were bottom half of the league in 2019 when Monken was our OC. That was with a pretty good offense, all things considered, roster wise. He's now coming in as a head coach from the Ravens. He was a very good run game caller. They had a very good run game. He also had an MVP quarterback. He also had an actual wide receiver room. Now he's coming in. The last time he was here, he was horrible on offense. We have a worse offense on paper. The only thing I do like is it does seem like he's all in on Sanders, so maybe that helps Sanders develop. Maybe we're looking at an offense more tailored towards him. But it also seems like he wants to run the ball quite frequently, and we don't know what we're having in that backfield. We have Judkins, who I know he said he'll be good before training camp, but he's coming off a broken leg.
Yeah.
Sampson is still kind of getting his feet wet. He showed flashes throughout the year. You've got Ford, who Lord only knows what the hell's happening with him. I mean, he should be gone, but Lord only knows with this franchise. And then you've got Watson still to come back as well. So, plus a pretty old O-line that needs some retooling. So, I mean, you're bringing in an old guy as a first-year head coach. If we were going to go first-year head coach, I would have liked probably Shieldhouse at this point. Like, if you're going to take a flyer, take a true flyer on a young guy that was still in the running. He never pulled his name out, and he would have kept Schwartz. But if we were going to go this route, I said keep Schwartz all the way. Make the guy happy. He's done what he's done here in Cleveland. He probably deserves it. But I mean, we had a lot of the same points coming into it, Kyle. It's really unexplainable. he's older now. He is a no bullshit coach, but like you even have your own. And now, granted, take this for a grain of salt because we all know how Miles Garrett has been. But you've got guys like Miles Garrett basically shitting on the hire right away when it happens, or subliminally doing so. So I think that's already like a tale of what's to come. I do think that if we're not successful, we're looking at a clean house all the way through. Who knows if Schwartz even stays anymore? I know the reports are that he isn't, but they're working hard to retain him. I wouldn't be surprised if he left because they kind of strung him along, I think. Which, why would you do that if you wanted to stick him with every new young guy that you were interviewing? Why string him along and then not hire him if he's the last one left?
Right.
That doesn't really make sense to me. That's burning a bridge that didn't need to be burned, in my personal opinion. But again, I mean, I'm kind of with you on all your points. I think AB and everybody else just needs to be gone, and we need to clean house if we're not successful this year, because we literally became a laughing stock on ESPN, on any major sporting network, for basically the past week over this random hire out of left field, when everyone literally has the same take, which is, if you're going to go this route, why not go with the guy in-house that knows your team will at least keep the team camaraderie together? I hope I eat my words. I hope they make all of us eat our words, Kyle, but I'm not too convinced.
You literally had a guy say, you literally, I was telling the viewers too, you literally had people pull out of this job because you wanted, which is fine. Keep Schwartz. I love that ultimatum. That's great. That's,
I love that idea. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. I'm not worried about that. But you have people pull out of this job because of how unorganized and dysfunctional you guys are. Like, you had McDaniel take a job at the Chargers. You had the Jaguars.
A lower job, by the way. He took an OC job, not a head coaching job.
Yeah, and he was still flirting. Was it the Raiders or was it the Bills? He was potentially going to interview for. Was it the Bills? I think, and then he pulled out of that too.
It was him and Shieldhouse were interviewing for the Bills, and then he took the Chargers job outright after that.
Yeah, so that tells me that he was still considering coaching the head coaching job.
He was still flirting with head coaching, knowing that he could be an OC still, pretty much regardless, was what the reports I read.
Yeah, and then
the Bills wanted him after the McDermott firing, and then after that, he had the OC job, and they let him go interview for that final head coaching position.
Yeah, so that tells me he was not that set on that OC job, but then he finally made the decision. And you had the Jaguars OC. He was supposedly high on our list. He backed out because he didn't want to bring the OC, which is fine. If you can't accommodate that, then he doesn't need to be here. That's fine. That's fine by me. But you have guys pulling out instead of compromising. So what does that tell you? They could have said, okay, we'll work with Schwartz. I've seen it. That tells me they're not paying attention to the Browns, or he's not paying those guys like Udinsky. Like, you shouldn't. To me, you should be like, oh, well, look at the season they had. I like him. He'll help me with the defense. One less thing I got to worry about. Now he's pulling out, and he's pulling out, and now you got. I don't know. It's good. AB better draft. He better draft well, and his coaching better pay off because I think Jimmy's giving him the benefit of the doubt. Hire this coach, and if this doesn't work, I said give him a year. I'll give him 2 years. Give him the first year, get his feet wet, but the second year he does not go make the playoffs. He's out. I don't care if it's a 5-year contract, 10-year, whatever. He's gone because you can't go. If you go 8-9 this year, I will be dead happy. I'll be okay. We're making improvements. That's happy. Next year, let's go for it. But and then I told him, if 7-10 or less, no, goodbye. I'll be 7-10. Okay, I'll be okay-ish with 7-10. 6-11, 5. Nope. Goodbye. Good, no improvement. You're gone. I don't care how you drafted. You're out of here. And it would be the same thing with Shieldhouse. It'd be the same thing with Udinsky. You failed to make the playoffs in 2 years. You're gone. Goodbye, because that means AB's gone. That means the new coaching's gone. And I know I'm getting worked up about this, but it's just frustrating that we might be in the same spot next year, talking about a 5-12 season when an inexperienced head coach and people cutting him slack. They better not cut people slack, because if they cut, I've seen a couple people wait. I'm a wait and see. More like I'm probably not going to like it. And I know Mark, you'll be too. I said I'll eat my words if he makes the playoffs this year. I'll be okay, but he's got to follow that up. We still got to know what the Bears do. Especially with the Bears, when you talk about the follow up, can they repeat it? Can Carolina repeat it? There's a lot to be desired here, Mark, and I just think AB's had AB and the Browns are have a lot on the line with this hire, especially if they don't make the playoffs next year or show at
Yeah,
least record wise improvement.
yeah, I would agree, and especially because we're widely considered one of the best fan bases in the NFL. Not to mention the fact that there's been basically a lack of success ever since they came back into the city, um, and the fans are hungry for growth. We had a
Yeah.
little bit of growth, we tasted a little bit of success, then we threw it all away. Then we got too high for our britches. Now we're
Yep.
back in this spot. We're back to being a poverty franchise. We're making horrible decisions. It
Yep.
has to change, and it has to change now, and it has to change with this hire. And if it doesn't change with this hire, it needs to be a whole new regime that understands how the NFL is working now and how head coaching is working now, so that there has to be some sustained success. Because you're not going to, like, unfortunately, this team as it's constructed right now is slightly too good to be at a level where we're getting our number one picks like Miles and everybody else to try to rebuild. We're not there anymore. We're slightly too good. We win slightly too many games to have that happen. So now you're in purgatory where you're at 5-12. You're drafting at anywhere between 7 and 10 pretty much every year, and that's not going to give you enough difference makers in enough time to figure it out. So it's got to be figured out now. Has to be figured out with the front office, with the head coach, and with these draft picks and or trades to come. Because AB, who has been a notorious trade heavy GM, all of a sudden is not making another big trade as of yet this offseason.
Yeah.
And you know that there's people available, so I'm in wait to see mode with him this year, as well as with Monken and the rest of the staff. I have liked who he's brought over from Baltimore. Their O line and their run game coordinator coming over, I think is a good thing. They have tasted a lot of success. Baltimore has had an extremely good run game since Monken's been there. Since those guys have been there, they've always been tops in the league, and I think a good run game is always important. But with the roster that we have now, can you make it work, and can you be successful right now? Because that's the problem.
You could. I was telling the viewers too. You could. Well, I didn't say this part, but you could relatively finish second or third in your division next year. And I'll say I'll say this. I think I told them this. I think Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's going to win a division just because of their coaching. They're
I
going
would
to win.
agree.
I think just because of their head coach, I think they win a division. Bengals depends what kind of year they have. Sometimes they have a decent year where they're okay. They'll be 11-6 or 12-5. They're in the playoffs, but they could have a year like this year and just all go haywire. We don't know what they're going to get out of Baltimore with the new coach. But if you're like Seattle, and Seattle, Mike McDonald came from the John Harbaugh coaching tree and Jim Harbaugh, pretty much a Harbaugh coaching tree. So you got that, and he's doing well. So that's gonna be a wait and see approach with Baltimore. Maybe it's a good hire, maybe it's not. I would say, you could relatively finish above Cincinnati and Baltimore, depending on how this hire goes and how the three hires go. I think Pittsburgh. I'm gonna be honest. I hate to say this, but I think Pittsburgh's got the best coach in the division. He got the best coach in the division. He's proven he's winning. Everybody's like, oh, he sucks and all that. He just won a Super Bowl. He went to a couple of Super Bowls. He won one. He took Dallas to the playoffs. Dallas. People, sports people. You know how Dallas is. Jerry Jones breathing down your neck and shit. So that's kind of a lost cause. We won't talk about that. But you have to. You got to give credit to Pittsburgh going for it, and he did some interviews last week. He's like, yeah, this is not a full reset. It's not a full reset. It's a full okay, we're starting from the top, and we're gonna keep going. When there's no reset, we're gonna keep going. And I think Pittsburgh gets back. I would be ultimately shocked in Mike McCarthy's tenure if they don't make the play. I'm sure they'll make the playoffs. I would be shocked if they don't make it in year one. That would be absolutely, if they can make it with Tomlin in that roster last year. If they don't make it in year one of McCarthy, it's going to be absolutely bananas if they don't. I would be shocked, and I think you all laughed at me for making the playoffs. And I'm probably gonna pick him again to make the playoffs. Can he make a run? I have to see how their roster is and how old they are. It depends. We don't even know what quarterback's going to be there. Does Rodgers run it back? Who would they even pick for? Does Will Howard get a shot? I'm sure McCarthy's not going to let Will Howard start for his team next year. If we know McCarthy, it's going to be a.
Well, not to mention the fact that Will Howard did miss basically. I think he missed like 3 quarters of the season with that wrist injury as well, wrist hand thing. I know McCarthy likes him a lot, but I wouldn't be surprised. I know there's a lot of reports that Aaron could come back. Now, as far as Steelers brass go, though, it does sound like they all want Will Howard to at least have a shot, and I've seen a lot of good takes on why not give him 2 years, and then if you really are cooked, um, I mean, then your fan base is kind of hungering for a real quarterback, anyways.
Right. Yeah, so it's be interesting. And then Cincinnati, they're going to run it back with Burrow, Chase Brown, and Higgins. They're
As
always
far
up
as
and
we
down.
know, at least.
Yeah, they're always up and down. And I was telling the viewers while you were gone, Mark, we don't know. I mean, mentors come from the Harbaugh trees of coaching. Look at McDonald; he came from the Harbaugh coaching trees, and look how he's at. So that's probably the only toss up in the division. But the Browns, you could very much finish above Baltimore, and Cincinnati if this goes according to plan. Especially if Jim Schwartz stays with that defense. If you don't, If you don't, that should be all you need to know, especially if you finish behind a mentor guy that you have no idea who hasn't been in the league that long, has come from the college ranks. So this is a big offseason. This is a make or break offseason for the Browns, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, realistically, I still think the entire division is wide open. I mean, Minter basically has to get a great OC, and I don't know much about their offensive coordinator situation as of right now over in
We took
Baltimore.
him. We
Um,
took him.
but well, that's what I mean. So I don't know what's going to come about with that. But Minter's obviously a defensive guy. We all know that.
Right.
As far as the Steelers go, well, I think they probably would be the favorite in the division. They're also getting older, so you don't know how long they're going to last or when some of those players really start to fall off the rest of the cliff there. And a Zach Taylor coach team isn't very successful, especially in the beginning part of the year. So you're looking at that and you're thinking to yourself, as the Browns, if you start the year hot, you have a real chance to win this division or at least come in second.
Yeah.
As long as you have a good offseason, you get the talent that's going to be required. Like, I mean, you could go from last to first pretty quickly in our division, all things considered, if you just make one or two moves and you come out of the gates strong. Like even this year alone, we could have potentially won our division if the beginning of the year goes a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I mean, Monken does have a chance.
I agree. But it's still going to be wait and see. We just don't know. And no, the Browns Browns are the Browns, and this could be ultimately either a epic failure, or this could be a diamond in the rough. And remember, Stefanski only had those 2 years. He couldn't sustain that success, which kind of rode him out of town. So that's what I kind of got to go back to as well. As he only had the COVID year, but I mean, COVID year doesn't really count, not really. So okay, you're to the 1 year when they played the Texans and got their ass kicked in the wild card round. So it's
Yeah.
going to be tough. It's going to be interesting what they do, and this draft's gonna be something because you need some offensive line help, you need some wide receiver help, you need a lot of help. Defense, you're kind of okay. Probably work on your maybe another defensive lineman or at least the defensive backfield. You need a couple of those guys. We don't know what JOK's situation is. He's still out of football. We don't know if he's going to come back. I think that decision has got to be made to clear up some cap space and roster space. And you just got to look at these other teams how they draft. Like you're looking at Seattle. Look how well they form. Look freaking at the LA Rams. Like this is a big. They got playmakers all around, and. And I think the no first round draft picks because this Watson trade is hurting them, and we're seeing the effects of it. We're seeing the not having first round picks in 3 years or at least 2 years. Now you got two to play with, and if you don't hit on these two with a wide receiver or at least two offensive linemen, you're going to be in a whirlwind of trouble come next season, Mark. Knowing that you had two draft picks and you whiffed on the first round.
I mean, yeah, I'd agree. I think this draft also has a lot of implications on what happens with the Browns moving forward based off of the fact that, I mean, you can pretty much, in a sense, you can do what the Texans did a couple years ago when they got all those picks for Watson, again this year for your own team after you were slandered over how well the Texans did. You can go in and use these first two picks Now, granted, you're probably not getting a quarterback, and we don't want a quarterback right now. But you can use these first
Right.
two picks in this first round on this first day and literally change the trajectory of your franchise. If you can get, I mean, for instance, let's say we get a Joe Thomas level or even up there lineman and a receiver that completely changes your franchise. All of a sudden now you have a weapon for a young quarterback or a weapon for a quarterback trying to prove his name is still out there, whichever however that works, and you
Yeah.
still have basically a top 4 or 5 defense in the NFL. I mean, I think this first day of draft picks is really what will set the tone for the season and for where the Browns are moving forward. Whether it's with these coaches or a brand new set.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting as it's just point. And like I said, we'll figure it out because we'll know is there gonna be sophomore slump for some of these coaches? I like a Ben Johnson or the Carolina. I don't know. I like to know discipline is very easy, but I don't know. It's I don't know. It's gonna be very
It'll be
interesting.
interesting.
Well, interesting, and there's a lot we'll get to. And I think the key now we just have to watch what Jim Schwartz does because I think the defense is I wouldn't say shot, but this defense is I don't know. I think our
It'll
defense is
definitely
in
take a big
trouble.
step back.
I think they're in trouble if he leaves. But and then what do you do? Do you hire within? Do you hire out? What do you do in a short amount of time? Because then you got to start doing interviews and I don't know. There's a lot of
Yeah,
more questions than answers, and we're gonna find out all of them, folks, with y'all as well. So, Mark, what do you think about? Well, we'll do a quick take, real quick, before we get out of here. What do you think about? There's a Pro Bowl this week coming up. How bad is the Pro Bowl that it's on a Tuesday instead of Sunday? Like, are these All Star games getting out of hand? Like, it's just off. Like, just mind boggling how bad these All Star games have gone over the past couple of years, where they really mean nothing. The players don't care, but it's just for literally ratings at this point.
yeah. I'm not really understanding the move to a Tuesday. I mean, a Pro Bowl's always been like, even with these kind of gimmicky games that they're doing, it's always been on Sundays and on the weekends. Now all of a sudden you're doing it on a random Tuesday when the Super Bowl is then 4 days away or 5 days away, whatever the case may be. It doesn't really make. Not only does it not make much sense to me, but I'm not understanding the quote unquote vision here, because if
Right.
it is for ratings, and extra money on the TV deals, how does it have being on Tuesday instead of Sunday do anything for you? Let
Right.
alone, I mean, all these All Star games now. You look at the ML. I mean, I'm not going to lump the MLB in actually, because the home run derby and things like that are really exciting, and everybody loves to watch those and always has. They've always remained the same. But
Right.
as far as like football and basketball go, I mean, you're looking at these All Star games. They get more and more gimmicky every single year. There's these goofy little like arcade games, and it's just almost unwatchable. If you look at the NBA, they do the dunk contest is dead. 3 point contest is good, but it's losing its steam already after the first what let's call it after the last 5 years. That was supposed
Yeah.
to be the most up and coming event. It's kind of losing its steam. Um, then the physical All Star game itself, they don't play defense. They just throw lobs and shoot weird shots. Like I'd rather see uh, college teams play at that point because it's more competitive until what they do that little like fourth quarter thing where they score 24 points. Like that's cool, but they only tried for that the one year when Kobe Bryant like died and they instituted it. Since then, it's gotten less and less competitive anyways. Now you look at
Yeah.
the NFL, they don't even play a real game. They're playing flag football. They're doing all these little gimmicky quarterback challenge quarterback games, but you're also seeing nobody even wants to show up. Like
Right.
I love that Shador Sanders is in the Pro Bowl. Don't get me wrong. I love that he gets notoriety and the Browns get some type of something out of it. But you've got him in there as a backup. You've got Flacco in there who played for 2 teams, got benched on the Browns, went to the Bengals, played pretty well, but didn't even play a full season basically. And he's now there. Like there's players that literally don't want to be there. The Pro Bowl used to be exciting, used to mean something. Now it's just like these guys are getting dashes on their resumes, and that's pretty much it. So I mean, I think there either has to be a real situation where you either really sit down and figure it out, or you just get rid of it altogether because it's not doing anything for anybody. Like you can
Right?
just name people to a Pro Bowl team, and then you don't have to play a game because what's the point anymore? They're already
Right.
on their own vacations if their seasons are over. They're already doing their own thing, trying to get to their own new teams, whatever the case may be. So why hold these games that nobody even wants to be a part of anyways? And it's almost like embarrassing for some of these guys to be a part of.
Yeah. And MLB, they did for the winner would host the World Series, whatever league they were in would host the World Series. So I thought that was cool. Then they got rid of that. The NBA,
Yeah.
yeah, literally they do the same dunks. We could do those dunks for all we care. I mean, and we can't. Well, I mean, we could try,
On
but
an
we
8 foot
know what I mean.
rim.
Like, yeah, we could try, but it's just in the hockey. It kind of coincides with now this year they don't get an All Star game because they're going to the Olympics. So that's kind of their All Star breaking game for 2 weeks. So that's more interesting than watching basketball. Literally play backyard basketball. What we do on a summer night, and what we used to do on a summer night when we're in high school is play backyard basketball for hours and just mess around and all that. So
Yeah. It's just
it's
like at this
stupid.
point they've been rendered pointless because not only do players, and I understand it from a player's point of view for the most part, like they don't want to play too competitive, they don't want to get injured, blah 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 blah. But at the same time, like it's supposed to be an honor, it's supposed to be something for the fans to see their favorite and their best players for the season, and now
Yep.
it's just all gimmicky games. Like it's just pointless. And at this point, I would rather just see them almost just go all the way away, and you get named to almost like so much like an all pro type of a team. The all pro first and second teams, or all NBA first, second teams, third teams. They don't play each other. They just
Right.
get named. You get your award, and then you're done. There's no game to be played. And at this point, I think that would be better off, like being an NBA All Star or a Pro Bowl, NFL Pro Bowl player or something like that. You're better off just naming those teams and then just giving them an award and being done because all they want it for is to be have it on their resume for the end of their career, and then that's it. They don't really want to play in the game, so stop trying to force them to because it's getting more and more stupid and unwatchable.
Yeah. So interesting Pro Bowl tomorrow night or Tuesday night. Obviously after this is or before this is released. So hope you enjoy the Pro Bowl. Well, Mark, I know you weren't here for a while, but you still got a half hour in. That was good. Good to
Hey,
show
yeah,
us.
we made it through the frozen tundra. We paid some furnace people, got some heaters, and made it in time to give a couple of takes and get us out of here before I know Kyle's got a big Baron Cup day ahead of him, and he's gonna be rocking and rolling over in the ice rink over there. Let's
Yep.
go hockey for all those hockey fans out there. I know, especially in the city that we live in, it's a big thing, and we have
Yep.
Super Bowl coming up here in a matter of days, and I couldn't be more excited about it. So happy that I was able to jump on, give a couple of takes, and still get this furnace handled.
Yeah, and hopefully you stay warm. Don't forget, y'all, next week we are live next Wednesday night, February 11th, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will chat. We are going to have some fun with you guys. Just remember, keep all comments, to the conversation. We love to conversate with you. We'll talk, we'll talk. We'll give our response to some of your comments. Just no silly stuff. We'll laugh, we'll joke, but no silly comments. If you do, you'll get ignored, or we won't read them. We just want to have a good conversation to keep the stream rolling, get new people in, and meet new people. We'll have fun. But if you do have silly comments, like I said, you're gonna get ignored, or you're just gonna get booted because we don't want that. We just want to have fun. And you guys can make we get to have fun, but we're trying to. But at the same time, we're trying to try to do this with you all, so we don't have to keep talking to ourselves all the time. If that makes sense, I know Mark could agree to that too, and
I can, yeah.
it's we don't mind the silly comments, but keep them in the boundaries. That's all we ask. Don't act stupid. Just have fun. We want to have fun, but we don't want because we don't want to have stupid comments. Um, Not make us do that again. We want to interact with y'all. We want to do it, but if it gets too much, we're not going to do it. So, and I know it's not everybody, but we just want to get that out there. So, just have some fun with us. We're going to have fun with it. And next Wednesday, we ride, and we're going to be very excited to chat with you all next week. All right, we got to get out of here. We have crap to do. So, I'm Kyle. He's Mark. Enjoy Super Bowl week. We'll be back full force next Wednesday. Keep saying Monday. Next Wednesday, live, 9 Eastern, on the Final Whistle. Goodbye.